From the high desert of Boulder, Colorado, a mutant nexus at the base of the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, about a mile above the sea level portion of the Babylon Matrix, where we are nestled just beneath the beautiful Flatiron Mountains. This is Jonathan Zapp of ZappOracle.com, and this is going to be an interview on, well, let me first introduce our guest here, which is Sean Moffitt. Sean is an expert on many interesting subjects. He's the founder of womensassistance.com that helps women who are victims of Islamic fundamentalism, especially in Pakistan. He's also an expert tracker and naturalist and expert in primitive wilderness techniques. But we are going to be, subjects are important in a way, but we're going to be talking about something far more serious with far greater implications, possibly for the entire galaxy, and that is Sith culture. And Sean is, and besides being somewhat of a Jedi persuasion, has read 123 Star Wars novels and is considered an expert on Sith culture, a subject I'm very interested in. And one of the things about Sith culture, we've talked about this somewhat in the past, is that the social structure seems to involve like a Sith Lord and some kind of an apprentice. Is it usually like a dyad like that, of like a two-person kind of a thing, or how does that work?
Well, the rule of two was originated by Darth Bane, I think 1,500 years ago.
Okay.
Before the Battle of Yavin. And
the Battle of Yavin is contemporary with the movies we've seen, or whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
The Battle of Yavin is where Luke Skywalker blows up the first Death Star.
Okay. So this is 1,500 years before all that.
Or thereabouts. I'm not good with the dates on the Sith books as much as some of the Jedi books. But Darth Bane was the originator of the rule of two, where it's just the master and the apprentice. Before that, there was just a colossal ongoing pecking order, where everybody's trying to kill each other, and they would have their apprentices and send them off on impossible missions to try to kill them, but that was just to make them stronger. So they had this twisted fatherly, just by giving them completely impossible tasks. If they couldn't complete them, then they weren't worthy, and they had to go find another apprentice, similar to Palpatine killing Darth Maul, or sending him after the two Obi-Wan, and then just going after Darth Vader, going after Anakin after that. But yeah, the rule of two was after Darth Bane.
Okay. And so, but also, isn't it very dangerous for a Sith Lord to train an apprentice? Don't the apprentices sometimes kill their masters, or is that not the case?
Well, I don't know of any apprentice killing their master, but yeah, the master always holds back information that would make him much stronger than his apprentice.
Okay.
And they're constantly playing psychological warfare, and making them more and more their pawn.
Okay.
But yeah, the apprentice usually is in such rage and hatred towards their master that's one of the main focuses of their everyday life.
Okay. And so, in other words, the masters aren't training a disciple out of any sort of altruism. They're doing it because they want like an assistant, they want like a sidekick, and they want them to learn powers, but they also want them to be inferior to themselves. Is that true?
I think in many cases it is, but in one case where it wasn't, where Jacen Solo, the son of Leia and Han Solo, was starting to turn to the dark side, he was slowly and insidiously mentally capturing Ben Skywalker, Luke and Mara Jade Skywalker's son, and bringing him into the Sith mentality by constantly assuring him that various techniques that were obviously Sith were for the best. And this is where Yoda says, fear, anger, and aggression are the paths of the dark side. There's also lust for power for this, just for the sake of power.
Right.
And that corrupts. But in the case of Jacen Solo, it was he really believed he was doing the right thing. He was going to make the world a better place, even if he had to burn down Chewbacca's home planet, which he almost did.
Okay, so and he was the master, right?
Jason was the master, and he's probably the most interesting Sith.
Okay, because he actually has some like altruistic ideals, or he just sort of as a means justifies the ends type of a Sith.
Oh man, he was involved with the entire Vong War series. It was a 25-book series, and he was the most empathic. That was one of the things that was very much a part of his personality, just being empathic towards animals and all living things and other people, and really feeling pain around him. And he's a fascinating character, and the way he turns dark. First of all, after the Vong War, which if you haven't read it, you should.
Okay.
He does a 5-year sojourn to study all the different Force users and Force techniques around the galaxy for 5 years. And that's
is that the Jedi and the Sith, or there are other cultures that also use the Force?
No, there's so many other cultures that were Force users, and it wasn't just the Jedi and the Sith. There was the Alcarian Rangers that used it for to make themselves impervious to the cold and be out in harsh environments. There's the Dathomir witches that would constantly sing that's how they were able to manipulate the Force, by chanting and singing spells and things like that. They were very close to Sith. But so he went off to all these different cultures for 5 years and gathered up all this knowledge that wasn't being taught at the Jedi Temple.
And it's almost like a Gurdjieff, going out to like learn the secrets of the East or something.
Exactly. And when he came back, he was still himself but changed. He started to feel superior to the Jedi because he had more knowledge, and at such a young age. And he was sure that he knew better than Skywalker and the Jedi Council, that he knew better how to conduct the galaxy. And that's how he wanted more power because he could do more good with it. And that's how it just started to drill into his brain.
Okay, but does he recognize himself as a Sith at some point, or
well,
himself?
Yes, he does actually. He found it's an ancient Sith. I don't know how to describe it. It was a series of ropes and knots, kind of like a wampum belt or something. And there was a Sith spirit that was telling him how to read it and how to understand all the procession of becoming a Sith. And I can't remember all the details, but it says you have to destroy that which you love. You have to, these kind of.
So he starts channeling a Sith, basically.
Yeah, he does.
And so, sort of on his own, without an actual human master, starts tapping into the lore.
Well, there was Luke Skywalker's ex-girlfriend who became a Sith, hooked up with Jason and started to teach him.
Luke Skywalker had a girlfriend and became a Sith?
No, she became a Sith.
Wow, that's pretty scandalous. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Is that generally known? I mean,
no.
Okay.
No, nobody knows that, except for his wife, who also his wife used to be the right hand of Emperor Palpatine.
He married the right hand of Emperor Palpatine.
Right. So there's this.
He's very unlucky in romantic relationships. I mean, what is up with that?
Mara Jade turned into a great Sith. She recognized that she was being manipulated, and being a strong-willed woman, she actually helped Luke destroy the clone of Emperor Palpatine. It's in a later book, but.
Okay.
It gets convoluted.
Right. Yeah. I can't follow the plot details, but I'm definitely fascinated with what this is telling us about Sith psychology. And so he also, this guy who's the son of Han Solo, who becomes a Sith, seduces a younger guy, but who also has good intentions.
Yeah, exactly, and that's one of the most successful ways of turning somebody to the dark side that has a warrior spirit and has wants all people to be happy and provided for.
Right.
They will basically do anything to defeat what they perceive as evil.
Right. Well, Freud had an insight into this. They once asked him, when you were young, did you think you were going to save the whole world? And his response was, no, the sadistic part of my nature was never that strong. So there is a will to power involved with a lot of do-gooders. And in its Holland biography of Hitler, there's a quote begins with a quote from Graham Greene, where he says that many saints were people that had a far greater capacity for evil, and that many who became incredibly evil only narrowly missed being saints. So somehow people with polarized natures could kind of like be the best candidates to go in the extremes of either direction, perhaps.
That's exactly what Jason Solo's case was. But if you're talking about Sith culture, it's more than just the master and apprentice, because there was an entire Sith culture that was going on before the Jedi, actually, and or right around the beginning of the Jedi, where it was master and apprentice, but they were basically at war with each other all the time, trying to psychologically break their opponents in really sadistic ways. And I didn't read some of the earlier ones, so there is a whole Sith culture book series, but the only one that I read was Darth Bane, which I think is the most important one, because that's where he kills all the other Sith.
Okay, so Sith compete with each other. They don't have any kind of cooperative network like the Jedi do.
That's not true. They have cooperative networks, but they generally betray each other. And,
so they're just like the honor amongst thieves. They're sort of like mafia families that join together and but have even less loyalty to each other or something. Or
they will band together to achieve a goal and then betray each other. That's basically the pattern.
Really? So they're kind of dysfunctional as an organization.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Darth Bane took on an apprentice and basically turned all the Sith against themselves.
Okay.
In a way that would allow him to destroy them, and then he was the only one left. He and his apprentice were the only one left. And part of the last page of the book is like, there can be only two: master and apprentice.
Okay. and so after that, there were no longer any Sith guilds or Sith cooperating with each other.
Well, there was no more Sith left. There was just the one with power and the one who craves power.
Okay, but it's not an inherited thing. In other words, they don't have like children or like a royal family. They recruit an apprentice, and do they recruit apprentices in the way the Jedi do? Do they look for somebody who's got a lot of midichlorians or has some kind of a glow about them, or how do they figure out who's going to be a good apprentice?
Well, that's a good question, and I can't answer that entirely. But if you look at Jason Solo, he sees Luke's son, Ben Solo. At 13 years old, he's already able to splice into any computer. He's kind of like Anakin Solo and Luke Skywalker at the same time. He can infiltrate any facility.
So he's got a great skill set.
Yeah, he's already got it. Well, yeah, and yes, exactly. And Luke actually set him off on a very dangerous mission to dismantle a super weapon in the Corellian sector, which is where Han Solo grew up. It's called what is it called? Center point, and basically it creates black holes, or it can send gravity waves that can destroy entire fleets across a galaxy.
Okay.
So Luke actually sent Ben on that mission, heavily guarded super weapon, to destroy it, and he did wind up doing that.
Okay. Well, I think a few people will dispute that Darth Vader is the most popular Sith. He's almost sort of like a Sith celebrity. And we're about to watch Empire Strikes Back, so I have a couple of questions about Darth Vader. I mean, one interesting thing that you told me was that after the lava pit, Darth Vader never fully recovered his potential for the Force, because to some extent it is affected by physical vitality. And after that, he was no longer this, strapping young guy, but kind of like a paraplegic inside of body armor or something like that. Or
specifically, it's that you don't have as many midichlorians in your blood anymore.
Okay.
Because you're missing body parts.
Okay, so that's why he has less force.
That's what I heard.
So he would have been a lot. That's a rumor, or that's you nailed that.
No, that's
I don't want to spend any misinformation.
No, it's not misinformation. I can't remember where it is in the book specifically, but that's the idea is that he's missing 2 legs and 1 arm.
Okay.
So he doesn't have as many midichlorians in his body anymore. That's
why that's why he can't defeat the Emperor.
That's why he can't cast lightning. That's why he can't levitate like he used to. There's portions in the book where he's able to levitate and walk as.
So he's really like a disabled guy that this whole Jedi are just beating up on, basically somebody who's disabled.
Poor Darth Vader. I mean,
I think you know, I didn't really understand this. You know, that he really had a disability.
After Order 66, there was like
what is Order 66?
Order 66 is at the end of Revenge of the Sith, where Darth Vader makes all the clones turn on their Jedi, shoot them in the back. That's waste all the Jedi out on the field. They're getting spread thinner and thinner and thinner. And so he says, execute Order 66, and they wipe out most of the Jedi. But then when Darth Vader becomes fully Darth Vader, he goes around and wipes out all the other Jedi that are still living, one-on-one. So he's not a wuss.
Okay. All right. Okay.
No, I mean, plus he's got the invisible crushing hand thing.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I've often wanted that in some meetings and stuff that I've been to. I just think it'd be a great way to, you know, maintain discipline and help bring order to the galaxy.
You don't have to crush
I wouldn't abuse it, of course. I would be doing it because I want to help. But in any case, so how do they compare in? I know you know a lot about big cats, and I've sometimes asked you, you know, who would win, a lion or a tiger, and you've told me that, you know, they're basically equal, but the lions are like have a different culture that makes them more aggressive, so that, you know, they might strike first and therefore have the advantage. But how do the Sith stack up amongst the top-ranked Jedi? I mean, are the Sith stronger one-on-one on average, would you say?
Some of them are. You know, you can be a Jedi and just be really good at illusions and go up against a Sith that is really good at crushing you to death. You're not going to last too long. Or you might if you're really good with it. But, you know, all you got to do is look at Palpatine defeating Yoda, who's 1,000 years old.
So in other words, kind of like with Anne Rice's vampires, you become a more powerful Jedi or Sith as you get older.
Well, you have more time to understand the Force. And
okay, so are they both have extreme longevity, the Jedi and the Sith?
Not that I know of.
Or was it just
Palpatine
that Yoda
was just a normal age man.
Okay.
And he took on 900-year-old Yoda and defeated him.
Okay.
So
Yoda just is from a species that has high longevity. It's not because he's a...
Right,
okay.
Right.
And Palpatine kind of looks like a wreck after his battle.
Yeah.
Is that did he have his force drained by that, or like what happened there? Was his force drained like after he had that battle with I forget who played by Samuel Jackson? What was his name?
What I read was that using force lightning damages your cells.
Oh, really?
So you can't you can't just blast away with force lightning.
Okay. But what if your last name is Zap? Would that still?
I think you'd have unlimited, obviously.
Okay. Right. Just want a little reassurance on that. But it can damage.
That's what I read.
Okay.
But also, you know,
But if I take like a lot of probiotics and stuff like that, I mean, it would probably compensate. Antioxidants probably be very important.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But, you know.
So different Jedi and different Sith have different powers, in other words, right?
Yeah. Like, for instance.
I mean, can Jedi do Force lightning?
They can. And after the Long War, Luke Skywalker started teaching all this Sith techniques.
Right.
But reinforcing their psychological resistance to falling into the black hole of Sith.
Okay.
And so it's a fantastic series where one of the things you're not supposed to do is hide yourself in the Force, cloak yourself.
Okay.
And that's what Palpatine was doing the entire time. So
right.
none of the Jedi,
right.
none of the Jedi could detect him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how he was able to become Emperor and fool the entire council.
Okay. Now, how much training is involved? Like, I mean, if I don't want to become a full Jedi, but just want to perfect the Force lightning technique or get better at it, like, what would that take?
Well, I think first of all you're going to have to find a Sith Lord and become an apprentice.
A Sith Lord? I couldn't find a Jedi that would teach me that. No.
Now Jedis generally can't do it, but later on in the series, not if we're just talking about the
right,
you know, from the Battle of Yavin to the Revenge of the Sith, none of the Jedi can cast lightning.
Okay, what's the most interesting thing about the Sith that I might not know?
You're gonna have to give me a minute.
Okay, like what's their sexuality like? I mean, do they have
don't
girlfriends?
get into that at all.
Really?
Yeah, nothing like.
Are they sort of celibates?
I do not know. I know the Jedi are.
The Jedi are?
But they just don't mention any of that. There's no sexuality with the Sith at all. It's just lust for power.
What were the Jedi?
What about the Jedi?
They don't get into the sexuality of the Jedi at all?
They do a little bit with Anakin Skywalker, obviously.
Right. Okay.
Obi-Wan.
Well, but Anakin is was Anakin the only one that was both a Jedi and a Sith?
No, Count Dooku was a Jedi. He was trained by Yoda.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what turned him?
The Emperor, Palpatine turned him.
Oh wow. Okay.
So he was
a real person who could turn Jedi. He was.
Oh yeah. Well, he turned Darth Maul, and then he turned Count Dooku, and then he set Count Dooku up, and then told Anakin to do it. Remember?
Right.
Cut his head off with both sabers, and it was the right thing to do, Anakin. Remember?
Right.
So that's how he gets into it, and then he's got him right there. He's set the hook, and from then on, you know.
Okay. So, which are like the four most powerful Sith of all time, in your opinion?
Definitely Palpatine.
Because he was such a good manipulator, was such a Machiavellian. Was it his smarts, or was it the Force lightning? What gives him an edge?
He was very, very. He had he was only. I think he had the highest midichlorian count, and then there's Darth Bane.
Really?
Yeah.
So Palpatine is number one.
Definitely.
Over Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader was not the most powerful at all.
Wow. Okay.
No,
so he's just kind of like a kid that, you know.
Well, I'm just saying, Darth Vader can't do Force lightning. He's not a real manipulator. He is extremely powerful. He killed like 150 Jedi, and he's ruthless. He has no conscience, except for his son at the very end.
Okay.
Which gives him the blue halo, even after killing Alderaan.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Like that, I hated the end of the third movie where you know suddenly he has this blue aura and he's like dancing with the Ewoks or whatever. I mean, it would be basically like ending like the Diary of Anne Frank with like Anne Frank and Hitler like skipping down the yellow brick road together or something. I mean, it was just bizarre. He just was instantly forgiven for like planets full of people that he killed.
Yeah.
So it's just
and all the Jedi. He plotted against them. He killed Mace Windu. He tried to kill Obi-Wan. Turned against his own master.
Okay, so Palpatine number one.
Darth Bane number two.
Okay. Don't know much about him. No connection to the Bane of the Batman thing, who also has a breath mask. But absolutely no connection.
Darth Bane he wiped out all the Sith and created the rule too.
Okay.
The third one, or maybe even the more powerful one, was Palpatine's master was Darth Plagueis.
Okay. And did Palpatine kill him?
Palpatine did kill him in his sleep.
It's a pretty nasty character, huh? Killed him in his sleep.
Hey, man, you don't have it to cut your master's head off.
Okay.
You're not good enough to be a Sith.
And Darth Maul, who I always hated the over the top makeup job, but you said that was actually a tattoo that he got.
He's supposedly a tattoo on his face.
Okay. But he's kind of like where does he rank as far as Sith? He's just kind of like an apprentice, you know.
He was the best trained Sith of all time. The best trained. But that didn't make him the most powerful. He he had all sorts of infiltration abilities. He would obviously
he did take on two Jedi at once.
Yeah, he did, and he killed the Jedi Master. But there's a comic book series, a graphic novel series of the future, and there's a Jedi that has a legion of Jedi beneath him. But I can't remember. His
and you
name.
think what's in the comic books is as accurate about Sith culture as what's in the actual books?
Excuse me?
You think what's in these comic books about Sith culture is as reliable as what's in the actual books?
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, they do a fantastic job
of coordinating all that mythology, right?
The graphic novels are a whole. They're really evolving as a way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially with Grant Morrison and other people.
Right.
But, I actually couldn't pick a fourth one because I don't know. I can't remember the names.
All right.
But
those are definitely like the top three.
Top three, and you can go ahead and throw Darth Maul in there just to make a top four out of it.
Oh, really? Darth Maul, do you think would be more powerful than Darth Vader?
Oh, hell no. No.
So why isn't Darth Vader number 4 then?
Why isn't Darth Vader number 4?
Yeah.
No, Darth Vader is. Oh, am I leaving him out?
I guess so. Yeah.
Good Lord, no.
I'm sorry. Of really dissing Darth Vader pretty hard.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just totally forgot Darth Vader there. Yeah, Darth Vader would be number 4.
Okay, after Bane.
After Bane, yeah, because he doesn't have the midichlorian count anymore. Damn. And after Darth Plagueis too, because Darth Plagueis was the Sith that discovered immortality.
Oh wow. Okay, and that that was what Palpatine was talking about and tempting Anakin with is the immortality training.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
And I haven't read the Plagueis book, and all I have with Plagueis is from the movie.
So Darth Maul is way below Darth Vader.
Way below.
Way below, just because of just less natural ability, less midichlorians, even though he's the best trained.
He's very well trained, but he's just no match for Darth Vader.
Okay. All right.
That's in my opinion. If you want to go for Darth Maul.
Okay.
Because of his tattoos.
All right. Anything else about the Sith that we did not ask you that people should know? Because, I mean, this is a concern. I mean, they're insidious. They cloak themselves. I mean, they could be in American politics right now, for all we know. There's been talk about Obama, for example, as a very well-clothed.
I think a lot of them are probably in the governing body in Pakistan myself, but...
Okay. Anything else we should know about them? Like, what would be the way if you wanted to protect yourself from the Sith? Or, like, anything about their culture at all that you think we didn't cover, but you think people should know?
No, I can't really think of anything.
Okay.
My brain isn't functioning at full tilt right now.
All right. Could be some Seth mind pressure, or keeping you from
trying to keep
kind of like suppress some of your memories or vast Sith knowledge. Anyway, well, thank you all for listening. This is Jonathan Zapp of ZappOracle.com. Just interviewed Sean Moffitt on Sith culture, and signing off.
Right on, man. That's cool. Nice. Very enjoyable.